Welcome to 2025 and welcome back to the A-Dub as we continue the competition after a 3-week break for the festive period. To the existing AWIHL community, welcome back for the resumption of the season. And if you're new to the sport in 2025, thank you for watching firstly, and welcome to ice hockey in Australia. I guarantee this won't be the last time you watch. But we are getting ready for Sydney travelling to Adelaide to take on the Rush. Adelaide sitting pretty at the moment in second place on the ladder. They've got the 14 points after playing 8 games. Sydney find themselves down the bottom, but they have been more than competitive with only the 2 wins and the 6 losses, one of those losses coming in overtime. So we are expecting a pretty good game. The first time these 2 teams have actually faced off this season. As we can see, the Sirens making their way onto the ice for the first time in 2025. My name is Michael Peppicelli, and I'm bringing you all the action on AWIHL.tv. You can catch us on YouTube as well. And joining me in commentary today is Luana Williams. Luana, so excited to have you on board. Happy New Year. And looking forward to this one.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well, Michael, and Happy New Year to all our listeners. I'm also very excited for this game. As you mentioned, for those who are new, this is to the AWIHL. This is a really good game, I think, to probably get you hooked on the sport. 2 very competitive teams, although perhaps not looking that way if you look at the results and the standings in the competition. But Rush and the Sirens, 2 very good teams. I'm expecting quite a close game today.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, first time these 2 sides have actually faced off, which is a little bit unusual for this point in the season. Sydney are going to have to play a lot of their games on the road for the remainder of the season. They've played 6 of their 8 at home. The Macquarie Ice Rink is undergoing some improvements and renovations, so it won't be available for, I think, all of 2025 and possibly most of 2026. I'm not too sure about how that's going to work, but the Sirens are going to be playing on the road for pretty much the rest of the season from here. So it's going to be a tall task if they are to reach the playoffs from here. Adelaide, as I already mentioned, sitting in a pretty good spot in second place on the ladder so far. And as you mentioned, Luana, this is a good game to watch. And the reason for that is we have 2 of the absolute best individual talents in the country facing off. And of course, I speak of Sarah Edney for the Sirens and also Jordan Kulbita for the Rush, who in her first season on Aussie soil has electrified the league.
Yeah, absolutely. She's leading the stats in everything for the Rush, so winning that points and penalty minutes as well. But these are 2 teams that really are centered around 2 of their key players. They have a lot of backup players who have got quite a lot of assists across the tournament, but most of their goals, and the vast majority of their goals, have both come from Kulbita for the Rush and Edney for the Sirens. So key for both teams is really going to be how do they manage that threat and defend this to prevent them from getting any goals or preventing their ability to get to the puck.
Adelaide, we know they like to play a high-scoring style of game. They've scored at least 5 goals in half of their games this season, but they are coming off a disappointing series in Melbourne in the last back-to-back before Christmas. They got swept by the Ice at the O'Brien Ice House. First game was competitive. They lost 3-2. The last one, not so much. They were beaten 6-1 on the road. So they will be looking to get back on track in terms of wins and losses. And just another fact as well before I get back to you, Loana, they've outshot their opponents in 6 out of 8 games. They generate a lot of quick movement from the defensive zone, and they get a lot of shots on goal, and they score a lot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And like you mentioned, it was probably they would have been very disappointed, the Rush, in that most recent performance against the Melbourne Ice, particularly considering they were able to sweep the Ice when they played them in Adelaide. And that first game of the series in particular, I think Melbourne got the winning goal with only about 1 to 2 minutes to go. So really, for the most part of that game, they were actually winning. So Adelaide, I think, are one of those teams this season who are playing really well, and they're probably, for a lot of people, going to be the favourites for the competition. They have beaten every team this season except for the Sirens, and that's only because they haven't played them yet. And they do have a very competitive scoring. So it's for on average, about 4.5 goals per game, and they managed to keep quite a few goals out, conceding only about less than 4 goals a game as well. So Sydney are going to have to do very well in terms of their attacking, which probably in the area I think they probably find that they've been less competitive in this season.
They are so enjoyable to watch, Adelaide. I know, speaking to a few people around the competition, that's the first thing that gets brought up, how much fun they are to watch and how much fun the players seem to have on the ice as well, which is always a good sign for a successful season. But as we look over towards the Sirens now, their special teams are excellent, and we'll mention that over the course of the call, but they are the best team in the league in terms of both power play scoring percentage and also PK percentage. So that's an area in which they're very well drilled, and maybe an area they can get over the top of Adelaide, although that said, Adelaide's actually second in the league in both of those categories. So both excel in those areas. But as we look at Sydney's last couple of games, they went down to Perth at home. Both of those games were only 1-goal decisions though, and Perth is the best team in the comp at the moment.
They are indeed, and going down by 1 goal, that's actually been Sydney all season. I think the biggest loss they've had has been 2 goals. So they are competitive in every single game that they play. And I think that really they're at a point in the season where if they can just start to get their attack moving, they probably are going to be quite a big threat for the season to continue, because defensively they are quite strong. They've got 2 very good goaltenders. You also mentioned their special teams, and I think that's going to be a big part of today's game. We've got the 2 best power play units for both teams playing today, but also interestingly looking at the penalty minutes. So Sirens don't give up a hell of a lot of penalties, whereas the Rush actually give up the most. So we've got a team that gives away quite a few penalties coming up against a team with a very strong power play unit. So this could be quite exciting.
Absolutely. As we get ready to go for the pre-game ceremony, there is a special ceremony taking place, which has been teased on the socials if you're not too sure. So have a look, as one of Adelaide's greatest ever players is going to be honoured.
Today's ritual, our 5'4" defender, began playing hockey in 1994 at the age of 13. Fast forward to 2005 and 2006, she won the Joan McKowen Trophy back-to-back, and in 2007 she was a foundation player in the AWIHL with the Adelaide Assassins, including the captaincy from 2007 to 2008. The Assassins won the first 5 AWIHL championships, and Johnson was a long-time captain, also the Adelaide Trophy in 2009
Is a number just a number? In ice hockey, a number, your number, is an identity for you. The longer you play, and the higher level you play, the more it becomes your identity and a recognized identity of your teammates, opposition, spectators, and fans. They may not know your name, but they will know your number. In SA, and I'm sure in Australia, there is only one name that belongs to number 18, Candace Mitchell. Candace is stats, accomplishments, and state and national ice hockey, and especially the AWIHL, are those of no other player. For this, it is important to acknowledge such a special player, a special person, Candace Mitchell. There is only one number 18. Heads up, let's celebrate and congratulate number 18, Candace Mitchell.
There you have it. A ceremonial airdrop followed by a ceremonial puck drop from the great Candace Mitchell, one of the greatest ever hockey players out of Adelaide, and as such, she has her number raised into the rafters at the Adelaide Ice Arena, and the number 18 will never be worn for the Adelaide Rush A-Dub team again. A well-deserved honour, and just in case you might have missed some of the accomplishments of Candace over the PA system, we'll just let you know a few of them. It is an extensive list. So 6-time A-Dub champion, including 6 of the first 7 ever AWIHL championships. Represented Australia at the World Championships 7 times, 2 of those as captain. Played 19 seasons for the Adelaide women's hockey team. I say that because they've gone through a few different names over the years. The Assassins, the Adrenaline, and now, of course, the Rush. Played over 100 games for those 3 teams over the AWIHL era. And just a true great of the sport, in not only in South Australia, but in the country as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always an honour having your number retired, isn't it? And I think considering how young the Adelaide Rush currently are, her leadership and guidance really would have been invaluable to the young players in the team coming up through the ranks. So really a great job to Candice and all the best for her and whatever she continues to do. But I'm sure she will still be around the women's ice hockey environment for some time to come.
Absolutely. They did mention over the PA system that she is still involved in the club in some capacity, maybe as president or director of women's hockey or something along those lines. I couldn't quite find that in my research exactly what her position is, but absolutely a titan of the sport, not only in Adelaide but in the country, and as a result, the Adelaide Rush, her old team, will be hoping to honour her with a victory this evening as we are underway. Leader involved early at the defensive end. Has shown a flair for going end to end at different times this season. Sydney now handling it through the neutral zone through Edney. Pass was off target. Neither side able to really maintain possession at the moment. It is a hot start. Chance now for the Rush to recover. As they push it over the blue line. First shot wide of the mark. Back in towards the crease, but that's poked away nicely by Lakari. Starting in goal for Sydney this evening. Comes in with a 1-2-1 record, 875 save percentage. They've split it evenly in net so far this season between Ella Lakari and Nayoka Wellard. Both have played the 4 games. And you get the sense Lakari will be pretty busy today with the number of shots on goal Adelaide are usually able to generate. And here they go around the net this time, but it comes unstuck. Bjorling able to intercept. Now Newmark. Currently leading the competition is Stephanie Newmark in power play assists. Shout out to the Sirens on social for posting that one. Actually had a number of their players up there. Linda Bjorling was in the top 5 as well. Sarah Edney, of course, I'm pretty sure was in there as well. No surprises. Here she is. Wraps it around the boards for Kenyon. That's Endillion. Both Ireland and Endillion playing for the Sirens. Endillion scored her first goal a few weeks ago as Tahima almost able to bury it top shelf. Here she is, Jordan Kulbita. Tried to play the 1-2, but it's cut off by Edney. She was wise to it. Cut back pass was dangerous, but Kenyon couldn't get on the end of it. McConey will fire it back into the zone. They're not done attacking yet, Sydney. Although they have forced a save. And we'll get our first face-off. Moonen it is in goal today.
Yeah, Emma Moon has been the main goaltender for the Adelaide Rush this season. She's got a save percentage of .835 with a GAA of 3.85. But there was quite a lot of time between drinks then. So I think at that point, Emma might have just been sort of taking the puck and just giving her team a chance to have a breath and maybe get a line change in as well.
Here come the Rush over the blue line. Slipping to ground, that time was Aris. Gets back up though and handles the puck, trying to work it in tight quarters. Not this time. Adelaide again looking to generate momentum. The shot was fired, but off the mark from Farrier. And Sydney will clear. This is Venus, the assistant captain. Some nifty stick work deep in a defensive zone. Sydney able to win it back in the neutral zone, and now they're under pressure, Adelaide. Venus did really well though. Positioned her body excellently and won it back. And fired off the pass in the meantime. Might be Cebulski wearing the 39. She's usually in the 4, but she has featured in the 39 a couple of times this season. Puck stuck up against the boards. Bjorling able to extract, but she goes to ground. Kulbita wins it from the scrimmage and is going to take it over the blue line herself. Going solo, what a move. Had it cut off. And the shot was fired, but a couple of Sydney bodies able to get in the way. They're under pressure early though. Now the Sirens elevated into the zone by Cooper. One of Adelaide's plethora of attacking defenders. You'll see her get all the way up into the offensive zone. So same with Maya Tupper. Venus will do the same. And they're just the Adelaide defenders, let alone what their attackers can do. Langevin with the pass. Venning at the point. Fires it goalward, but it was all Sydney. And they're able to successfully see off that challenge, but it's coming straight back with an icing call.
The goal count, you would think that the Rush have had a few more shots on goal than what is currently happening. They're sitting at around 3 or 4, I think. So they're just managing to put a lot of pressure on the Sydney defence at the moment and really not letting the puck coming out of their attacking zone.
5 minutes down in the opening period. We are at the Adelaide Ice Arena. One of the all-time greats, Candice Mitchell, has been honoured in the pre-game ceremony. If you've just joined us as it comes back for another icing call against the Sirens.
I think this demonstrates that Sirens are really struggling to actually control the puck coming out of their defensive zone. They're really trying to get it into the neutral zone or beyond, but they're just having trouble doing that because of the checking pressure from the Rush.
Still a number of players on this Sydney Sirens team that won the championship just 2 seasons ago. But they have gotten a bit younger and less experienced in the process, but think about the likes of Edney and Bjorling and Newmark. Still important presences on this Sydney side. Here is Cebulski trying to lock it up on the corner boards. Lund comes in to help. Spills free to Edney and the Sirens will reload. Unable to handle it that time, though, were the Sirens, and comes unstuck. Cooper and Kulbita combine. Cebulski making a nuisance of herself. Lund coming in to lend a hand, but Sydney will recover. Shot on goal total 3-1 at the moment, as opportunity now presents for Venus. Weaving in and out, goes centrally. Force the save from Lakari. Mulvena trying to keep it alive. Here's Tahima. Venning at the point, but the pass was too hot. She'll have to go back and get it. Adelaide piling on the pressure early. Big collision. Lang and Tahima get icing once again. Tahima usually comes off best in those collisions.
There have been a couple of rough collisions actually so far this game, which the officials have decided they're just going to let play. So I guess really just going to see how the teams manage this and sort out the game on their own, I suppose.
As Alana mentioned in the pre-game, Adelaide do lead the league in penalty minutes. They've had to deal with the most power play opportunities against them. Sydney escape once again. Bjorling will get on the end of it. Nice move, but even better in defence was Aris. Couldn't quite clear though the first time. Kulbita back to Aris. Forecheck good from the Sirens and a chance to keep it in their attacking zone for a period of time. Something they haven't really done as of yet. But Kulbita comes away with it. She's so good in traffic and fires the shot, but it copped a deflection on the way through. Lang doing well defensively for Sydney and pushing it offensively as well. shoots from range. Save in the end was nicely made by Moonen. Newmark trying it behind the goal. McKowen couldn't win possession, and Adelaide out of danger. Zaborski's coming onto this to try and prevent an icing call, and she did that successfully. Venus couldn't find her target. Here's Venus again at the point. Sets it up near the crease. Zaborski, a scrimmage before Lakari can finally get on top of it.
Well, you mentioned Zaborski had no speed and ability to stop that from becoming an icing call, but she also managed to create a situation where they're again able to put some attacking pressure on the Sydney Sirens. I mean, we're almost halfway through this first period, and the vast majority of the game has actually been played on Adelaide's terms in their attacking zone.
As most games are, when Adelaide are involved, they're so good at getting games played on their terms. They just suffocate their opposition and really don't even allow their opponents to get into their offensive zone all that much. Here's Venus again, trying the wrap around. This time it's a pass, and Molfena somehow kept out by Lakari.
That is some great goaltending right there, and may have injured themselves in the process. There was a lot of shots, a lot of opportunities for shots on goal, with the original shot actually being quite a good shot as well. So great job there by Ella to be able to keep the puck out.
Still not quite sure how she managed to do that, but she did it, and it remains a scoreless game, approaching the halfway mark of the opening period. AWIHL.tv is where you can catch us on YouTube. We hope you're enjoying the coverage on this Saturday evening. Edney tries it from the neutral zone. Force a strong save from Moonen. And keeps the rebound in the zone as well. Sydney are going to have to try and get Adelaide on the break. They couldn't keep it in the zone on that time. And Adelaide are going to get out of danger. Strong pass through neutral territory. Now Sydney back on the defensive. Slapped goalwards by Venus, but it was deflected on the way through, and no harm done from a Sydney perspective as Lang offside.
Really unfortunate, I might say, there for the Sydney Sirens. It was one of the only opportunities they've had this period to be able to take the puck into their attacking zone with control, and just didn't quite time the movement of the players into their zone.
Possession from the draw taken by Adelaide. Zaborski working hard on all fours and has drawn a whistle. It's going to be Cleo Mayer heading. Is she heading to the box? Looks like it. Or maybe not. Couple of changes made by the Sirens. We do have an Adelaide power play. So I may have been right. In fact, I was. It is Mayer in the box. The box is on the same side as the bench here in Adelaide. And we get to see that vaunted Sydney PK unit for the first time. Can't quite get it out of the zone. Well done, Venus, to keep it alive. Fana wanted the first time up. Venus again. Tahima beaten to it by Lang. Works the bank. She's over the top of it, Lang, and doing a really good job, not allowing it free, and unkilled valuable seconds. Opportunity now for Adelaide, but Sydney up to the task at the moment. Reload
Well,
through
not only kills some
Ayres.
valuable, that not only kills some valuable seconds, but it also disrupted the Adelaide's attacking structure as well.
And if you were ever wondering why the Sirens are such a good PK unit, you're getting a first-hand example of it right here. Done a tremendous job, and Adelaide now into their zone. Can they conjure something here? Kulbita, always dangerous. This time she passes it off. Barrier and Kulbita work it out. Long range effort. Taken now by Cooper. Kulbita wants it up top. Cooper's going to hold it herself and try it from the angle. Somehow the puck spills free. Now Kulbita gets her chance. Farrier, Kulbita on the cut. And Sydney defensively doing a fantastic job. We're back to even.
You mentioned the kill unit for the Sirens, and that was a perfect example of why they are so successful. The puck was for the most part within that attacking zone, but very few shots on goal put on during that period, so really disrupting the lanes and not giving Adelaide any valuable shooting opportunities.
They've conceded only 2 goals on the PK all season, the Sirens, in 8 games, and they actually went their first 6 games without conceding on the PK as Lakari forced into another save.
And that's something about the Sirens game that has been quite strong is their special teams. Where they seem to be struggling a little bit more is when they're playing full strength 5-on-5. So again, it's one of these examples of if they can start to get all aspects of their game to start to sort of click and gel, they are going to be quite a strong team towards the end of the season.
Shots on goal 8-3. Tahima looking to make that 9. Good work defensively by the Sirens. Venus pushing all the way up from a defensive spot. Wrap around potentially on here again. Venning looking to assert her authority. Now into the zone for Sydney. That's Sandillian Kenyon working to keep it against the board. McKowen. Her central pass was intercepted by Cebulski, and here she goes, the youngster. Long range effort on the angle. He's dealt with comfortably by Lakari. Here's Cebulski again, and Lakari gloves it.
She's looking ominous, Cebulski, isn't she? Getting her stick to the puck, moving around. She's got really great pace and really great movement on the ice.
Turned 18 years old a couple of months ago. One of the young rising stars for Adelaide and for Australian hockey in general. Cooper slaps it towards goal, and Lakari, after a nervy movement, is able to handle it.
With 6 minutes to go in this period, we can see the shot count there behind us on the screen. It's 11-3 to the Adelaide Rush. They really have been peppering Lakari there between the pipes. So far, Sydney's doing a great job of keeping it out, but they're really probably going to want to try and get this puck down into their attacking zone and give their defence a bit of a break.
Wild shot from Kulbita as well off the mark. Don't be surprised if she nails one of those later on, though. She can hit them from anywhere with the best of them. Newmark lost her stick. And we have a whistle. Approaching 5 minutes to go in the period.
This will give the Sirens an opportunity now to set up their zone and try and get the puck into their attacking zone. When they've had the puck down there, they haven't looked too bad. They've just been struggling to maintain time down in that area. And as I say that, the
That's
Adelaide Rush
exactly-
get it out.
Absolutely. Well, that's exactly how the Rush want the game to look. They try and keep it in their attacking zone as much as possible to really choke the opponents defensively. Their blue liners will play high, very high. We saw an example of that. Here's Farrier looking for the cutback pass, not there. Sydney will come away with it. Shot fired that time by Borg, but it was once again an easy save for Moonen.
That might be, I think, their fourth shot on goal, and I think all of them have actually come from the blue line. So we've been talking about the defence and the checking pressure of Adelaide. This is as a result of that. The Sirens are having to make their shots on goal from further back than what they probably would ideally like to.
Protecting that slot area very well, the Rush. And as they are now on the rush, Tahima has the extra. Shot had so much pace on it. Unlucky for her, it was off target. Newmark through centre ice. Bjorling, another shot from the blue line. Just trying to generate maybe some chaos off a rebound. Here's Bjorling again, the Swedish import. Took the competition by storm a couple of years ago. And here come the Rush. Not this time. Sydney able to get back defensively. Edney, always difficult to beat. Now Bjorling on the attack once again. Moonen decides to let it go. She knew she had support. Taken away from Lang, and this is dangerous for Sydney. First goal of the game goes to Adelaide, and it's Jamie Lunn doing it defensively, then with the finish.
I think we really did see this coming, didn't we? There's been a lot of pressure in this attacking zone. And Jamie just exhausting the defence, really, and this constant forecheck pressure as we see here on the replay. They're not able to get the puck out of their attacking zone, and really just a wide open shot there for Jamie Lunn, who's managed to score her third goal this season.
4 points now in total for her on the season, and here's Cebulski trying for two in quick succession into the crease. Molfena got a stick in there, but not enough. Starting to look ominous are Adelaide. Here's Venus playing high as always. Her pass was intercepted. Cooper now for Adelaide, forced backwards. Able to find a teammate though in the end in Lunn. She has it taken away. Just going back to the play that led to the goal, you have to feel for Kelsey Lang. She thought she was away. Somehow, Jamie Lunn was able to take it away with the sleight of hand and then finish the job with the goal. Nice piece of individual play, defense turning into attack. Speaking of attack, Adelaide again. Aris, the heavy touch. Sydney clear the zone, but Kulbita's coming back with it. And just before she could get a full head of steam, there was an offside call.
We'll have to come back and try that all over again. What I've noticed so far, one thing that the Rush are doing really well is that they're actually stopping the Sirens' breakaway players. So someone like Linda Bjorling, who's got so much speed and so much pace, she creates a lot of opportunities, whereas the Rush have been able to stop this by intercepting passes or just getting in the way of these players trying to get out through the neutral zone.
Here are the Sirens with an opportunity themselves. Newmark, one way then the other, and lost the puck. Reed it was taking it away. Tahima, the alternate captain. Bjorling on the forecheck. Nifty little pass to Newmark, and the two-player game almost worked. Sneaky little 1-2. Moonen was wise to it on this occasion. And she's got control of the puck now. Should mention Moonen was part of the Sirens' initial roster heading into the season, but then defected to Adelaide later on in the piece, and as you mentioned before, Luana has become the #1 goaltender for the Rush this season.
Yeah, and you wonder if that's got something to do with the fact that the Sirens goaltenders are quite strong, so maybe some broad opportunities for her moving over to Adelaide.
Here's Molfena. Cebulski comes to lend a hand, but Sydney able to get it out of the area via Bikini. Cebulski battling 3 Sirens, takes it into the zone, but then it's just as quickly taken away from her. But she wins it back, does Tori Cebulski. Sirens get back in numbers. Back check is good and forced a difficult pass. She doesn't give up though, Cebulski. Here she is at it again. Now first to it this time will be Payne. Awkward looking pass, but it's going to work out. Kenyon. Venus. It's been busy in this opening period. It's been busy all season, really. Little poke check was good. Now Farrier. Both teams happy to play it mostly in the neutral zone at the moment. Now here's a change, Moroniuk. Unable to finish. Aris on the rebound. Likari's lost the puck, and now she's gotten back on top of it. Talk about danger there for the Sirens. It was very nearly 2-0.
Absolutely, very much danger signs and a lot of desperation. I mean, they've done well with the shots on goal count of twice of what the Adelaide Rush have been able to, of what the Sydney Sirens have been able to do. To go down 2 goals to nothing would not have been ideal going into the first period break.
There's not long to go in the period, so if the Sirens can keep Adelaide out the rest of the period, you'd have to think they might be reasonably happy being just a 1 goal down. But I can't speak too soon. Kulbita's got moves. Not this time. Done a reasonable job bottling her up before she can get a full head of steam, Jordan Kulbita. We know how difficult she is to stop. And as we go to the first intermission, it is Adelaide leading Sydney 1-0, Luana.
That's right, and I think you mentioned before that Sydney will probably be happy with that. I guess they'd probably be happy that a goal wasn't scored, but considering how much of the game was played in their defensive zone, I think they've done a great job in just managing to keep it down to 1 score from the Adelaide Rush. I mean, we think about it, if they can score early in the second period, then they would definitely think that they're probably ahead in this game. So great job. I think Ella Liccardi has to take a lot of credit for this period so far, being able to keep out so many shots on goal.
Shots on goal heavily in favour of Adelaide, but the score is only 1-0 with the Rush leading the Sydney Sirens. Jamie Lunn, the only goal scorer. As we go to a break here at Adelaide Ice Arena, it's 1-0. Well, the first period was dominated by the Adelaide Rush, but Sydney trail only 1-0. We'll see if the Sirens can capitalise on that as the second period begins. Michael Pepicelli and Luana Williams with you in commentary on AWIHL TV on YouTube. And Luana, was an entertaining opening period, but very much dominated by Adelaide. As I mentioned, Sydney probably feel pretty good about being just the 1 goal down, although Lakari's got to go to work early on here, as she does.
Yes, we almost jinxed ourselves just then. I think you're right. I mean, it was very much dominated by the Adelaide Rush. Like you said, that's been a trademark of their game all season. However, in saying that, the Sydney Sirens have done a good job of really stopping probably their main attacking player in Jordan Kulvita. So they'll be, I think, happy with their performance and hoping to perhaps build on that in the second period.
They're almost able to come away with it here, Sydney. He's in their zone, but it'll be all Adelaide back to recover. Just the one penalty in the opening period as well as Tahima looking to make it 2-0. Unable to get through the legs of Lakari, who's got a couple of words for her opponents as well. She's fired up. She's had a good day so far.
She really has. She's really been what's been helping the Sydney Sirens in managing to keep it only 2-1 goal. Wonder if something was said to her as the shot was coming on, because you're right, she does seem very fired up. And a really great breakaway opportunity there by Thema to be able to put that shot on goal. Still having some discussions about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw Adelaide score on so many breakaways over the course of this season so far. Lakari able to keep Tahima out of the net. As Bjorling takes it over the blue line, Newmark comes to help. Here she is again, Newmark. Wide of the goal, but the rebound falls to Lang. They'll wrap it around here through Newmark. Bjorling will go again. Up against the corner, able to find Newmark. Dangerous pass. Almost causing chaos with the bodies in front of Moonen.
And that must be very close to the line then as well. I think that might have been close to a goal than it might have seemed.
And most of those jumpers in front of Moonen were red, not white. So a couple of nervy moments for Adelaide here early on, but in trademark fashion, they turn it straight into attack through Farrier. This time straight to Lakari, a much easier save for her this time.
It's one of the few shots, I guess, that have come from the blue line rather than having to deal with all of the shots that are coming sort of right in front of her when the Rush have managed to disrupt the defensive zone of the Sirens.
Really found one here in Ella Lakari, haven't they? She's having a very good season and having a very good game against what is probably the most difficult team to face if you're a goalie, I would suspect. Just the sheer number of shots on goal that they get and the position from which they shoot a lot of the time makes it very difficult for goalies. Here's Cebulski. They're trying to set something up, Adelaide. Able to shake free that time. Was a teammate of hers, but couldn't get the shot away. And that'll be icing.
It's an opportunity then, therefore, for Sydney to see what they can manufacture down this end of the ice.
Shots on goal 17-6, you can see on the scoreboard. That is a major discrepancy, but so far just the 1 goal as Lang. Nice sliding stop, and she tried it again from beyond the blue line. Moonen able to glove it and keeps play going on instead of taking the draw. One comes on to replace Aris. And Adelaide are working it through the neutral zone again. Here's Kulbita. She's been quiet so far. Has it poked away from her. Cooper from the point. Newmark lending a hand defensively, now involved in the attack. Here's Bjorling gliding down the ice in trademark fashion. Didn't have a recipient for the cutback pass. Newmark lending assistance. Able to get around a couple. Bjorling straight into Moonen. One of the Sirens' better goal scoring opportunities thus far. Still got it in the zone. Venus able to get it out though. And Payne will just punch it back in as both sides look to make a change. Edney pushes it over the blue line. Venus the only player there. Pass was a good one. This is Lunn, who's got the only goal of the game. Looking for Molfena, trying to set the screen. In the end, she was more focused on that than controlling the puck. Here's Venus again. Repels so many attacks for Adelaide, does Kirsty Venus. Started her career in the UK. Former Solihull Vixen. Now doing good things for the Adelaide Rush in Australia. Adelaide dominating possession and perhaps an opportunity here in the crease. Couldn't quite turn it in, Langevin. And Edney skips away with it. Elevated effort. Newman might have lost it there for a moment. And that'll be icing once again.
The Sirens have come out into this period with a lot more intent. We are seeing the puck a little bit further down in their attacking zone, and they are able to put a few more shots on goal. Well, it's still quite a discrepancy, as we can see there on the scoreboard behind the goaltender, but they are sort of starting to build a little bit more pressure as their second period starts.
They look really dangerous whenever Bjorling and Newmark are able to combine. Those two seem to have really good understanding of each other and where the other is going to be at all times, because we've seen some really slick passing between those two in some dangerous positions.
Absolutely, and I think credit to the Rush's defence and with their ability to be able to prevent that from occurring. We've seen very few breakaways from Bjorling this game, which is unusual for her. And then when it has happened, they've always been able to block that pass as well. So they've done their homework on the Sirens, and they're really trying to nullify their real attacking threats.
Adelaide with possession. Aris has it taken away from her by Pekini. No one on the end of her pass. Well defended by Adelaide, and Lang will just slap it back in as Bjorling comes back onto the ice. So too McKowen. And here is McKowen straight into the action. Has it taken away from her though. Aris lays it off. Shot from the angle is off the mark. Newmark able to get it out of the zone, but might be coming straight back, although Cooper couldn't maintain control. Here is Newmark cutting it back. Just a little bit out of the reach of Lang. So she's had to go back and get it in the neutral zone. And here come Adelaide the other way. Aris. Shot blocked. Newmark again. Inside, outside, back outside to Bjorling. And Kulbita doing well defensively with the poke check. Farry up. Chance now for Cebulski, trying to deke her opponent. Not quite. That was cheeky. Almost got the result she wanted. But well defended in the end by the Sirens, who are looking a bit more aggressive, as Luana mentioned, in this second period. Defense has held up so far, and and backing themselves to go for it a little more offensively. As Edney, she's the danger. Taken away from her this time. She goes again. Adelaide able to take it out of the zone. Edney will maintain possession, and she's had a couple of pings from outside the blue line. If anyone's going to make something happen from there, it probably is Sarah Edney. Brunt, there was a gap there, but they couldn't make the most of it, Sydney. And Adelaide's defence has now been quite busy. Moonen and co being peppered. And it's going to come back to the Sirens attacking zone with the icing call.
Really great passage of play from the Sirens here. They're starting to disrupt the Adelaide defence, although Adelaide has still been quite aggressive. They're not able to do it in as structured a manner as what they were in the first period.
They just look a little bit more confident, don't they, in what they're trying to accomplish, the Sirens.
I think a bit more urgency to the puck as well.
Kept alive by Bjorling, who had it go out of play on her.
But it does allow them to keep the puck down in their attacking zone and keep applying this pressure towards Adelaide.
So if you've just joined us, Candice Mitchell, the Adelaide legend, honoured pre-game with her number retired. And the only goal of the game so far has gone to Jamie Lunn for Adelaide. The Sirens have had some moments though in this second period as McKowen and Bjorling almost able to combine there. Bjorling keeps it alive in the high slot, but it's taken away by Cebulski and Moroniuk. Still alive here for Adelaide. Couldn't get them on the break, but maybe they can get them on the second go. Although Kulbita couldn't handle it. Farrier going all the way back to retrieve the Adelaide captain. This is Kulbita, who's disrupted momentarily by Kenyon, but able to win it back, and here she goes. Kulbita! Wide of the mark, took a deflection on the way through. Here's Venus from the point. Nice save in the end by Lakari. Able to turn that one away with her leg. Here's Island Kenyon. Runs, tries to feed it in the direction of Bikini. Kenyon involved again. Here is Brunt, looking for the angle. Kenyon now has it taken away from her. And it's Adelaide having to do most of the defending at the moment. Edney back into the zone, but it's straight back out. But now here's Edney. It was all part of the plan. Able to get a tip on it was Moonen. And here come the rush. Malthana. 1 against 4. Numbers win out for Sydney. Kulbita doing a lot of her work in the neutral and defensive zones today. We haven't really seen her unleashed as of yet. Sirens doing a good job.
Just past the halfway mark of this period, and although they haven't had that many more shots on goal, the Sirens, they have really managed to stem the amount of shots on goal that the Rush have been able to put on the net. And as you've mentioned a couple of times, Michael, a lot more aggression in the Sirens play as well. Sort of more urgency to get to the ruck and disrupting the lines and preventing the shots for the Rush.
force a turnover deep in their attacking zone, and Adelaide lucky to get out of it in the end. Can they turn defence into attack? Multhana looking to do exactly that. Up against the boards to Langevin. There is Multhana. Nice save, Lakari. She's done it again.
I think Bjorling might have been a bit disappointed there that the whistle was blown because the puck was on her stick, and I feel like she might have been off then, as we can just see here in the replay.
Yeah, we've seen her do that a few times, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Possession taken by Lang. Adelaide able to keep it in the zone only momentarily. It's back out and Venning sends it back in. All Sydney though, but dangerous interception. Trying to push it goalward. But no luck there for the rush. Farrier. Kenyon met solidly. And Sydney now come away with it and have the opportunity. Bikini slaps it forward. Aris there to retrieve. McKowen disrupting the Adelaide movement. Didn't have much support though as her teammates were making a line change. Farrier with control. Not for long though. Payne did well to get the stick in. Now Newmark. Pass terrific for Bjorling. Forced to go outside by Kulbita. Bjorling still going. And for as good as Kulbita is offensively, showing off some good defensive chops there.
Yeah, so we've mentioned that the Adelaide Rush are the most penalised team in the competition this season. Well, Kulbita has by far the most penalty minutes for the Rush with 24. Next best is Cooper on 14, so quite strong on both ends of the ice.
He's Bjorling again. Lang with the slap. Moonen did well to get in the way. But they are pressing here, the Sirens. Newmark with some nice stick work. Comes unstuck eventually. They've got a real challenge on their hands here, the Rush. Cebulski has it poked away. Able to feed the pass back, but a bit too strong. So the Rush will have to reset. Here's Kulbita on one of her marauding skates. Through the traffic, the shot is wide. Cebulski off the rebound. Venus from the point. Blocked. Newmark's clearance didn't go very far. Tahima looking to gain territory, and a mistake here for Sydney has opened the door. Langevin involved. This is Venus. Back for Farrier. Shoots it through. Langevin's got some space and shoots. Lakari again able to get the deflection. Kept alive by the Rush. Lakari another save. Lang able to find a teammate, and Sydney are on the offensive. That was short-lived, although we have a whistle.
Well, this might
So
be
it's
what
Maronia
the
heading to the box.
And this might be exactly what the Sirens have been needing, just to sort of build some momentum here. We mentioned at the top of the call how strong their power play unit is, and they've been building momentum throughout the 15 minutes of this period. So a really good opportunity to put their power play to work and even this game up.
Going at 32.4% for the season on the power play, the Sirens, which is best in the league. 12 for 37 to be exact.
And they've got their
approaching
strongest
the latter
line out.
stages now.
And they've got their strongest line on the ice at the moment, with Edney, their highest goal scorer, and then their highest assists as well. So really strong opportunity for them.
Absolutely. Newmark, who leads the league in power play assists so far this season. Gets it again. Shoots it out to Edney, who tries it from distance. But Moonen up to the task.
One thing we have been seeing quite a bit of this game is it's Edney who's making the shots on goal. And as we see here, the replay of that shot just then, she is the highest goal scorer. Most of them are coming assisted. So possibly what needs to be happening from the Sirens is they need her in front of the net and some of the other players actually trying to take these shots on goal and giving her some shooting opportunity or scoring opportunities.
From what I've seen of the Sirens this season, they do look for her in the power play situations, Sarah Edney. They seem to make a conscious effort to get her the puck and let her cook, as they say. And here she is, Edney. They're letting her cook! And she cooked a Michelin star meal.
And she absolutely just proved me wrong with an unassisted goal there, but wasn't it fantastic? Sort of working the puck around took them less than a minute to score that as well, that goal within their power play. And it was another example of, as we can see here in the replay, another example of their ability and pace when rushing the puck through the neutral zone, which then just creates some space and a shooting lane for them. And for someone like Sarah Edney, you really don't want to give too much space to her when she wants to try and shoot the goal.
Well, she's as good as they come. Started the weekend 4th in the competition in total points. That was number 18 on the season. 12 goals and 6 assists now as Lakari makes another strong save. And really, Luana, probably the goal Sydney deserved in the end. That lopsided shot count, well, firstly, not so lopsided anymore. And secondly, not representative of the totality of the game now.
Absolutely. I mean, the second period has probably really been dominated by Sydney. We've seen the puck moving up and down the ice a lot more than it was in the first period, and their checking pressure has really increased. That was very much a well-deserved goal. And also what the way they've been playing as well, that increased aggression, also probably brought about that power play, which is really where their team shines.
And just like that, they're back on the kill, Sydney. Had a successful kill in the first period. It's Lang in the box. So special teams, we did mention it in the pre-game. It's going to be key for Sydney in this game. They just scored a power play goal, and now the kill unit's got to go to work. Farrier looking to set things up. Has Cooper skating by. Instead opts for Kulbida. Sent it through a few sets of legs and sticks. They'll reset here. Farrier again. Can't get through. Kulbida will recover. Bjorling hot on her heels. Pass is good to Cebulski. Move terrific. Pass even better, but Farrier couldn't quite get the first timer where she wanted it. That was well set up by the rush. They've got another opportunity here. Venus from the angle. Kari got her body in the way. Aris strong pass to Hema. Feeds it back. Bjorling working mighty hard to fight the good fight. Back into the crease we go. Puck gets through and we have a stoppage.
As we can see, McCarty having some conversations with the head official. Something's obviously upset her. This wouldn't be ideal for the Sydney Sirens. They probably, for the Sydney Sirens. I mean, the Rush probably would have preferred that this was able to just to play out a little bit more. But the power play has almost ended.
It certainly has, and well, unless something changes, and hold the phone to Hema. Not quite. She'll try it again. Adelaide are going to set up, but we are back to even numbers off the rebound. It's not a power play goal, but it still counts as Molfena taps it in.
This was just what I was saying before about the stoppage just before the end of that power play. Defensively, the Sirens are actually doing a great job then, and then just that break managed to sort of reset everything. It enables a new line, and as we can see here, it was just the ability to pull the goaltender across the ice and then pick up the rebound and really make a shot at an open net.
Well, I'll keep talking about food because I'm good at that, Luana, but Caitlin Molfena is a nutritionist as part of her day job, and she cooked a pretty good meal herself there.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, I'm getting a bit hungry, but anyway. Here's Likari able to get a stick on it. Moroniuk. Farrier. Adelaide hitting back with a vengeance after conceding that goal. Lunn with the shot. Kept alive. Almost knocked in by Cooper. Lunn will try it again from the point. This time it's cut off. Bjorling applying the forecheck pressure. Adelaide able to work it out though. Cool beater. Lines it up. Can't find the net. Cebulski has been very busy buzzing around the offensive zone. That'll be icing. So if you just joined us, first period was dominated by the Rush. Jamie Lunn scored the first goal of the game. Second period has been much more even and probably has been a little bit more Sydney dominated. Sarah Edney scored a power play goal, and just now Caitlin Molfena scored a second for Adelaide. So Sydney's penalty kill record still looks pretty good, but it doesn't count for much considering they conceded a second. As they take it over the line here, Sydney, but it's taken straight back out. Cebulski puts it into attack. Aris matched up with Kenyon. McKowen now. Couldn't quite clear it. Tahima passed to the point to Venus. Kenyon now Molfena keeps it alive. Kenyon is going to try and get it out of the zone, but that proves difficult. Aris has her pass blocked, and Adelaide are going to set things up again. Not long to go in the period, and it's through for a third goal for Adelaide. Might have been turned in on the deflection. Or is it Venus's goal? It looks like it's Kirsty Venus, the scorer.
Well, here's a replay here, and we can see exactly what happened.
It looks like Tahima got the stick on it as it was going through her legs.
So that's really unfortunate for the Sydney Sirens. You mentioned before that they possibly were the more dominant team in this period, and I think I would probably tend to agree with that. Yet, despite all their hard efforts, they are still likely going to end this period down 2 goals.
Well, they're making Moonen work here late in the piece, but we have hit the end of the second period, and it's Adelaide leading 3 goals to 1. despite, as Luana just said, a very good period from the Sirens. Scored the first goal of that period courtesy of Sarah Edney on the power play. But after that, the Rush go bang bang via Caitlin Multhana and then Kate Tahima. And as such, they take that 2-goal lead into the second intermission, Luana.
It's going to be very difficult for the Sirens to pull back on this as well. I mean, we know that their games are tight, so they are going to defend well into this third period. But the Rush have just been so strong defensively, and they've really been applying great pressure in the neutral and their attacking zone. So it's a lot of work here for the Sirens to do coming into the third period.
It certainly is, but they have shown they're up to it. Every game they play is a close one. So this is far from over. Make sure you stay tuned on AWIHL TV via YouTube. And as we go to a break, it's Adelaide leading Sydney 3-1. Just about ready to get this third and final period underway here at Adelaide Ice Arena. Michael Pepicelli and Luana Williams with you in commentary on AWIHL TV. You can find us on YouTube and also keep an eye on the socials. There is plenty of great AW content all over social media. Luana, it's been an entertaining game so far, but once Sydney were able to tie it up with that power play goal from Sarah Edney, Adelaide able to knock in a couple late in that second period, and that may just be the straw that broke the camel's back, potentially.
You're right, that could be the case. And both of those goals right at the end of the period also did sort of come a little bit against a runner play as well, which is a little bit disappointing from a Sirens perspective. However, they are known to keep their games close, so I wouldn't say that this is the end of the game so far. I would expect them to come out with the same sort of pressure they came out with in the second period and see how they manage to go in scoring some more goals. And also, we have another thing to mention as well. We've had very few penalties this game also. So if they're able to get a couple of power plays, you would imagine the Sirens would probably fancy their chances with those opportunities.
They are 1 for 1 on the power play today. That's where the Edney goal came from. So something that we've spoken about a bit, but it really is the strength of this Sirens team. The special team situations, I should say. They haven't conceded on the kill so far today, despite a couple of Adelaide opportunities, and despite conceding a goal just after a power play, the rush, but those are going to be crucial for the Sirens to get back into this game. They've only scored 26 goals across their 8 games so far coming into today, so they are going to have to go perhaps above and beyond their usual offensive output if they are to be victorious. Is Adelaide able to work it into the zone early? But Sydney able to hold things up. Lang almost came away with it. Farrier then did come away with it. Malthana straight back to Lang though, and Edney is going to try and make something happen. Sends it through the neutral zone into the attacking zone. Kulbita first to arrive. Banks it to herself. And she's going to try and take it end to end here, Kulbita. Almost got through a couple of Sirens. And that was not too far away from being something really special. We've spoken about Kulbita. Perhaps a little bit quiet today. The Sirens have done a good job on her defensively. Yet to hit the score sheet. Came into the weekend third in the competition in total points as Moroniuk tried to find the gap beyond Likari, couldn't quite do so. Likari's had a very good game, as has Moonen in the net, although she hasn't faced as many shots as Likari has. Here's Samantha Payne. Over the line and into the zone. It's all Adelaide. Venning. Newmark keeps it in the zone and forces Moonen to make a save. Pretty comfortable one, it must be said. Venus. Dangerous pass. It wasn't seen by the recipient. Bjorling couldn't make something happen, and now here's Moroniuk going the other way on the rush. Poked away, Bjorling and Newmark. There's the dangerous combination, but this will be undone by an offside, and Kulbita and Bjorling have a couple of words for each other, but nothing more than that.
You mentioned the dangerous combination, Michael, and that's exactly what that was. The ability to just sort of know where each player is. Really great pass. I think a lot of people probably thought that Bjorling was actually going to take that puck into the attacking zone. She had quite a lot of open space in front of her.
She can be very deceptive in her movements, Linda Bjorling. come back. So they've doubled up the Sirens in terms of shots on goal, but as we said, there didn't seem to be too much of an issue at times throughout that second period. Of course, when Adelaide goes and scores 2 goals in 2 minutes to end the second period, it looks like more of a problem.
And that's probably the thing that really would have frustrated, I think, the Sirens, is they really played a great period then, and to let in those 2 goals right at the end it'd be very deflating, I think. And also put some momentum with the Adelaide Rush. They've done such a great job of swinging the momentum in their direction. To give up those 2 goals, it just means they have to do all that hard work again in this period. As we can see, I think there's potential helmet getting readjusted maybe.
Yep, she's back out there and is going to face off here in this draw and able to win possession, albeit momentarily. Sydney trying to work it through the neutral zone. Adelaide's defence is good though, using their bigger bodies. Here's Edney. What can she create? Brunt's unable to take control there, and Sydney will reload in their defensive zone. Moroniuk is going to apply the pressure. Sydney able to get out of danger. Here's a chance for Edney. Getting low that time was Moonen. Kulbita has it taken away from her. Brunt will keep it alive. Only momentarily though, Adelaide able to get it out, and when I say get it out, it's out of the rink entirely.
It's not quite the desired outcome they wanted from that. The puck coming all the way back into Sydney's attacking zone. As we see here, Edney's great shot on goal. I mean, she does that so well, doesn't she? Just manages to get herself into the right position to create those potential scoring opportunities.
And moving away from goal like that, but still able to put the shot in such a dangerous place. Gives you a sense of just how skillful she really is if you needed a reminder. Icing, it's coming all the way back. So Sydney owning some territory at the minute. We'll see if they can take advantage of it early in this third and final period. Opportunity in the slot. Kenyon lost the puck for a moment, and that allowed Adelaide to come away with it through Venus. Goes to ground, but able to keep it moving. It's difficult to get it out of the defensive zone against Adelaide as the Sirens know all too well from today's experience. They're able to accomplish that, but not for very long. Here's Malthana. Centering pass was dangerous to Tahima, but she lost control. Cooper now. Another dangerous centering pass, but Sydney able to deal with it defensively. Tahima's got to go back and get this puck. Bjorling right with her. And here is Bjorling, the takeaway, but then taken away from her by Kulbita. And here we go. Again, the poke check from the Sydney defence. They're just able to get in her way when she tries to go end-to-end like that. We've seen her be so successful on it so many times now. It feels like a fait accompli once she gets going like that, but Sydney today showing not so much. She can actually be stopped. It's probably a sigh of relief from everyone else in the competition. Long range shot is blocked. Farrier's going to go again, opposed to Lang. Aris now tries to set it up. Kari went to make a save, but it was offline anyway. Here's Moroniuk. Still going Moroniuk. Lang, well, they got tangled up there, both players. First timer from Farrier is a terrific goal.
Well, even though the puck had been in that attacking zone for quite some time, they're really just circling it around the net. They hadn't really put on that many shots on goal, and this was quite an unlikely shot as well. We can see the tangle up there between the two players trying to get the puck out. And then it really was just a case of the right place at the right time there by Tash Farrier. And unfortunately, Ella Liccardi is doing a great job today, but that one just managed to slide underneath her pads into the net.
4-1 now the score. Third goal of the season for Farrier. And it's starting to look very difficult now from a Sirens perspective, and Adelaide don't give up. They just keep on going. They love to pile on the goals. Tahima able to feed Cooper, but all she could do was wrap it around the boards. Kulbita trying to keep it in the zone. Brunt is working hard in there as well for Sydney. Edney through the neutral zone. Able to regain control. Dishes it off, but the shot is deflected, and now Adelaide have the extra. They've got two extras. A bit too far out in front of Lund. Already scored a goal today. She scored the first in the first period, if you just joined us. Big day for the Adelaide Rush as a club, as a whole, with Candice Mitchell's number being retired today in a pre-game ceremony. Played 19 seasons for Adelaide's women's hockey team across 3 name changes. Absolute legend of the sport in these parts. Farrier has it taken away by Edney, who banks it, but only as far as Venning. Opportunity perhaps for Newmark, but Moonen able to come out to meet it.
Yeah, quite a tense little period just there. Newmark probably just not quite fast enough to get to that puck, because it was certainly on if she could get there before Moonen, particularly considering she'd come all the way out of the net to try and stop the puck.
So Adelaide very much in control at the moment in terms of the scoreboard, although a quick goal to Sydney could make things interesting in the final 10 or so minutes. But they'd have to get that goal pretty soon, and here's Lang trying to make that happen. Tumbles to the ground as she crosses the blue line. Bjorling hits it back towards the offensive zone. Here's Lang again. Shot was wide. Kenyon centering pass, looking for Lang. Kenyon goes again, but Farrier able to keep it away from her, and Tahima now feeds Aris. And just like that, defense turns into attack for Adelaide. But Sydney able to get back in numbers and clog things up. Puck was locked in there.
Well, for the Adelaide Rush fans who decided to come down to the Ice Arena on what was a very warm day here in Adelaide, they've really been treated to something quite special. The Rush have played really, really well. They've put a lot of shots on goal, and this forecheck pressure that we saw in the first period has actually really started to come back again as well. So really strong display by them so far in this game.
Yeah, you'd have to think the locals are pretty happy with how their team's going at the moment. disappointing couple of losses to Melbourne their last time out before Christmas, but come back with a vengeance today. Venning keeps it alive. Langevin working near the crease. That was skillful from Edney. Takes it over the blue line. Fires, but can't get it to go. McKowen trying to lock it in. Brunt as well. Adelaide able to clear though. That'll be icing, wasn't touched on the way through.
We've seen a number of really nice shots from Edney today, one of which resulting in the Sirens' goal. But it hasn't quite been enough for them, and I think a lot of that has to come down to the fact that the Rush have really taken away the opportunities that perhaps come to Edney from other players. So really great team defence and stopping the passing lanes and really preventing Sydney getting into the swing of things.
Lang going through traffic. Shot blocked. Here comes Kenyon applying the pressure, but unable to escape the initial forecheck through Kulbida. His shot is blocked. Both superstars have been kept largely in check throughout the day. Edney does have Sydney's only goal. It was a lovely finish at that from the angle. Lang again for Sydney. She's going to take it over herself. Off to Newmark. Trying to cut inside, but Venus, who's proven impenetrable today, as well as her attacking prowess. Kulbida recovers. Here she is, one-on-one with Edney. That's what the people wanted to see. In the end, they both lost their footing. Edney slaps it into the zone. Kulbida ends up with it. Almost poked away from her, but she was able to maintain control. Moroniuk lost possession. Edney's pass terrific. Runts couldn't get through. Over the line. Venus there once again, as she has been all day. Aris. Danger here in front of Likari. Does spill free though in Sydney's favour. Brunt tries to get around Venning. Into the crease. Brunt again. At the point. Pass laid off. Moonen got her body in the way at the crucial moment. Lang looking to keep it alive, and she's going to try and retrieve this herself, which she does. Lays it off at Bikini. Adelaide defending well, but it comes back to Bikini. Her shot, no good. As Kulbida goes to ground, no whistle yet, but we do get one, and it's going to be Lang heading to the box.
We heard the groans of the crowd when they realised that they thought they weren't, as we see the penalty here, when they thought they weren't going to get that penalty called. We've mentioned a couple of times today the special teams for the Sirens and how good they have been, and they are really going to have to be good right now. They're already down 3 goals, and really they're going to need to try and get some ice time. They are a team that has actually scored a number of shorthanded goals, so this is potentially a possibility that could happen right now in this power play.
Certainly can't afford to concede. And that's a good start. Long range clearance. Aris back to retrieve. Venus. Back to Aris. Can't quite get in their zone just yet, Adelaide, and maybe an opportunity for Edney, who tries it from way downtown.
That would have been a great goal if it managed to land. But what it has done is it has given the Sirens some time. Here we go. We get to have another look at this. We get to have another look at the shot. It gives us both teams the opportunity to have a bit of break, have some line changes, and also keeps the puck down on the Sirens' end of the field.
Newmark goes back to get it. Straight to Aris though. Farrier scored the most recent goal. Drop pass for Moroniuk. Looking to centre, and she does so. Farrier got a stick on it, and Lakari's lying down on top of it. Ella Lakari getting creative.
We'll see a replay here. This is a really great effort by Lakari. Quite a number of ice players around the puck, and very easily could have gone in then, actually. And we can see pleading from the rush as well, sort of asking for the goal when it wasn't called.
It's only just now gotten to her feet, Lakari.
She's taken quite a number of hits today, hasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely, and she was going to lie down on that puck for as long as she needed to. And they couldn't beat her that time either.
This has been an incredibly long power play. We're only halfway through it at the moment.
Yep.
Quite a number of stoppages have been occurring, which isn't really giving anybody any opportunity to build any momentum across the 2 minutes.
See if we can get something going here. Although Adelaide will have to try and reset now. Farrier. Kenyon right on her heels, drops it off to Newmark. To Kulbita, I should say. Cooper drops it off for Farrier. Now they're looking a bit more dangerous, Adelaide. To the opposite point where the shot comes. And Lakari takes another hit on the way through, but able to keep it out. I'll need her to get back up, though. She's in a compromised position. Behind the goal, the rush working, and it's tapped in. Tori Cebulski, as Lakari couldn't get back to her feet in time.
Adelaide finally managed to get themselves a power play goal this game, and sort of felt like I was watching a little bit of that in slow motion. Lakari was really struggling to get herself to her feet after she took that hit, and did it. I think the Sirens did a great job really to try and hold out for as long as they did, but when you've got the player down, it does make it difficult to get some bodies in front of the ice. So really just an open net there for the rush to hit the puck into.
So now a 4-goal Adelaide lead, and if this stands, it will be the Sirens' greatest defeat of season 2024-25 so far.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. They've managed to keep most of their games quite tight. In fact, the games that have really sort of had the biggest score lines are the two that they've won against the Melbourne Ice.
Yeah.
So, I guess, perhaps taken a little bit off guard by the pressure of the Adelaide Rush. Like we mentioned, they haven't played each other yet before, so I guess not 100% sure what they might have been coming up against.
We will be back here tomorrow for the second game of the back-to-back, 10:15 a.m. local time. Make sure you're watching on AWIHL.tv. Well, it promises to be another entertaining clash. Tahima off to the opposite point for Venus. It's a chaos pass. And Lakari able to see through the chaos and make the stop.
And we can see As we get a replay here of this little passage of play, you can see on the scoreboard behind Lakari, the shots on goal really have blown out. I mean, the Sydney Swans did a great job of trying to stem that within the second period, but it makes it really hard to score a goal yourself or try and win the game if you've got a shots on goal that's almost 20 shot difference. So it does make it very difficult when you're trying to make up a 4-goal deficit.
It's about 2.5 times the number of shots, and it's difficult to win a game when the differential is that much. If you have just joined us, Jamie Lunn scored the first goal in the opening period for Adelaide. Sarah Edney able to equalise in the second, but that was erased pretty quickly by 2 quick goals to Adelaide right at the end of that second period, and it's been all Adelaide in period number 3. They've scored 2 goals to none, and as you see, they now lead at 5-1, and they're not done yet. Pass had a bit too much on it for Moroniuk, one of Adelaide's many Canadian imports. Here she is. Edney having nothing of it though, speaking of Canadian imports. Here's McKowen, veteran of the Sydney outfit. Edney, the pass terrific. Brunt couldn't get as much power behind the shot as she would have liked, and Moonen is able to get down on all fours and take control.
There's a bit of heat in this game as well, isn't there? You mentioned the pressure that Adelaide has been providing throughout this game, and I think that's one of the things that makes them a real threat and legitimate contender to win the competition this year, is that they're up 4 goals to 1, and even though that this could be quite comfortable with, less than 4 minutes to go, they're still trying to apply the pressure and still trying to score goals, and that's very difficult to play against if you are trying to equalise the score.
Venus under pressure from Kenyon. Cebulski has to go 1 against 3 here. Mayer able to get it out of danger, only momentarily though. Venus's shot turned away by Lakari. Bjorling slaps the pass to Newmark. Working left side. Feeds it back towards Kenyon. Island Kenyon, that is. And Dillion's in the number 7 for Sydney. Here goes Venus again. Looking to go end to end. Cuts back. Venus will get another go. Puck loose for a moment. Lakari able to see it off. Now Tahima's going to take her shot. Circling the net. Goes to ground. As does Kulbida. No whistle yet. Another lost stick in there as well. Seen more of that in this game than I have all season. Certainly been made to work for it, Adelaide. It hasn't come easy despite the scoreline. Shot wide of Lakari. Final 2 minutes. Adelaide are going to get their 6th win of the season, 5th in regulation. And for Sydney, it's going to be a 6th loss in regulation, 7 all up. Moroniuk's pass, batted away. Farrier. Venning. Lost control. Lines it back to Venus. Deflection to Aris, who rockets it goalward. But it was offline. Cebulski, pass terrific. Aris again couldn't quite get it on target. but she scores on the third attempt. Some icing on the cake for Adelaide on a big day for the club.
Really is a big day for the club, and it's a great scoreline, I suppose, considering this, their ceremony and the retiring of the number 18 jersey today. Unfortunately, the scoreline really doesn't, I think, it doesn't give credit to the performance of the Sydney Sirens. They've had a really good game today. It's just unfortunately for them, Adelaide have been better and been better by quite a bit. Really strong attacking pressure. The defense has been great, and I think as well the interesting thing for me is the lack or the fact that they've been able to do this while Kabuda didn't has been quite quiet as well. So it really does show the depth of the rush this season.
No multiple goal scorers in this one. Almost another goal scored. Curry's actually had a pretty good day in the net as well, despite being beaten 6 times now. Tick into the final 30 seconds. Multhane's one of the goal scorers, as is Cebulski. McKowen will come away with it. Edney trying for a consolation goal. Moonen able to get behind it. And Adelaide will come away with it. Kulbita, can she finally hit the score sheet as we hit zeros? Not quite. But it doesn't matter for her or the Adelaide Rush as they rampage to a 6-1 win on a massive day for the Adelaide Rush Club. Candice Mitchell has her jersey retired in a pre-game ceremony, and she would be proud watching on with this performance as they send Sydney to their biggest loss of the 24-25 season so far, Luana Williams.
Yeah, this Adelaide Rush really putting the rest of the competition on notice today, haven't they? I mean, you mentioned a couple of times the Sydney Sirens are hard to beat, and when you do beat them, it only tends to be by a goal or two. So for them to put 6 goals on the Sydney Sirens, winning by 5, it really is quite strong and something for the rest of the competition to consider, I think. And number of stand-up, probably the most impressive thing about today's performance is the fact that it was across the entire team. Like you mentioned, there were no multiple goal scorers for the Adelaide Rush today, and it really having to use the entire depth of their team as well, of their roster, with the Sydney Sirens really doing a great job of keeping Kulbita quiet.
That's right, and in her place, the goal scorers for Adelaide, Jamie Lund, Tori Cebulski, Caitlin Multhana, Nat Aris, Kate Tahima, and also Natasha Farrier. So they're able to put 6 on the board despite Jordan Kulbita not being among those goal scorers. It's a great sign for Adelaide, and for Sydney, Sarah Edney, the only goal. Scoreboard maybe not reflective of the entirety of how this game was played, but Adelaide come away with a big win, and they'll look to do it all again at 10:15 local time tomorrow morning. We'll have the second of this back-to-back between the Adelaide Rush and the Sydney Sirens. But as I say, a big thank you to all the Sportscast crew behind the scenes, and also to my co-commentator, Luana Williams. Michael Peppicelli signing off from the Adelaide Ice Arena, where it was a 6-1 win to the Rush.
This broadcast is powered by Sportscast Australia.